Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Secretary Johnson, if I could start with you, please. On June 29th, Senator Grassley, Senator Sass, and Senator Fisher and I introduced a bill called Sarah's Law to amend the mandatory detention provisions of the Immigration and Nationality Act to require the federal government to take custody of anyone in the country illegally who is charged with a crime resulting in death or serious bodily injury. Sarah's Law, and we've talked a lot about this as of late, was named in honor of a young woman from Iowa who was killed in a drunk driving accident in Omaha, Nebraska. And behind the wheel of the other vehicle was Edwin Mejia, who was in the country illegally and driving drunk at 3 times over the legal limit. When local law enforcement reached out to ICE to see if they wanted to detain the driver before he could post bond, ICE declined to do so. And Mejia subsequently posted bond and remains at large. In a letter I received back in May, ICE acknowledged that, simply put, Edwin Mejia should be in custody and that his detention should have qualified as an important federal interest pursuant to the detention policies outlined in a memo you circulated in November of 2014. Since then, we have been told by ICE that they have instructed their field offices to consider anyone in the country illegally who kills an American to be an, in quote, important federal interest, end quote, and a priority for detention and deportation. And first, I have to say for the record that I can't believe that this was not a top Obama administration priority to begin with. And regardless of what has been said in the field offices, we have not received any confirmation that it truly was said in the field offices. So we don't know if this is actually the policy of ICE now or not. There is no written confirmation. So can you confirm that ICE field offices have been instructed to detain illegal immigrants who are charged, not convicted, but charged with a crime resulting in the death of an American citizen?
I believe I can. I'm very familiar with the case of Sarah Root. I have exchanged correspondence with Senator Sass on this tragic topic. We have reiterated to the field at my direction that there is this important federal interest provision in our priorities memo that I issued in November 2014. That has been sent to the field, and just yesterday I was looking at our numbers of those in detention, and it's reflected in the implementation of the policy. So we are detaining more people when somebody in the field judges it to be an important federal interest to do so.
Do you know how many times that important federal interest has been used?
Not offhand, but it is reflected in the statistics that we are seeing now.
Okay, so we are seeing an increase perhaps in the number of people being detained?
Yes, ma'am.
By ICE. Okay. And do you have any updates from the department on Edwin Mejia's, where he's located, or where are we on finding him?
I know from my communications with Senator Sass, as I told him, we, along with local law enforcement, are looking for him.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe him to be in the country or elsewhere?
I could not say.
Okay. Okay, and for Director Rasmussen, we'll move on to a different topic. In your testimony, you noted that, in quote, having passed the 15-year mark since 9/11, the array of terrorist actors around the globe is broader, wider, and deeper than it has been at any time since that day, end quote. And an issue that I've been focused on is the rise of ISIS in Southeast Asia. Is NCTC concerned with this, and what do you believe to be the potential impact on U.S. national security?
It's a terrific question, Senator. I just returned from 4 nations in Southeast Asia just within the last 2 weeks myself, because I was concerned about, as the caliphate has looked to expand around the world, there are certainly vulnerable populations in Southeast Asia in a number of countries where the ISIL ideology could find fertile ground. As you well know, in the period after 9/11, Southeast Asia was a very active theater for al-Qaeda, and the al-Qaeda-affiliated organization Jamaat Islamiyah posed a major threat in Southeast Asia to U.S. interests and to the interests of our partners. So we've known, looking back, that this was always a potential hot zone where ISIL might find the possibility to take root. My trip out there was designed to kind of to engage with our intelligence partners to make sure that we were doing exactly what Director Comey was talking about, at the much more aggressive exchange of intelligence information that we need to be able to get ahead of this. There are foreign fighters from that region who have made their way into Iraq and Syria. Those individuals seek to identify individuals to send back to or to connect with back in their home countries. And so the same phenomenon that the Europeans are dealing with, that our other partners are dealing with, is being seen in Southeast Asia. So we're applying many of the same tools to try to get ahead of it there.
Mm-hmm. And for Director Johnson and Director Comey, then, with those terrorist elements existing in Southeast Asia, do we see any implications to those potential members from Southeast Asia of ISIS or other terrorist-affiliated groups? Do we see them traveling into the United States?
Senator, the way I'd answer the question is this: we continually reevaluate and evaluate our targeting rules, the rules that we apply for how we assess someone entering the country or who wants to enter the country. And based on threat streams, we adjust those so that when people seek to come here or come here and they show up at the port of entry, they'll either be sent to secondary or they may be denied entry altogether at the outset.
Okay, very good. Director Comey, do you have anything to add?
No, just that threat underscores the importance of connecting ourselves to those partners in Southeast Asia so that we know who they're worried about, so we can put them in our databases so we can stop them from getting in here.
Very good, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.